Ethan never suspected a thing. For 10 years, he had lived in a blissful illusion, believing that his marriage to Claire was built on love, trust, and unwavering commitment. Their life together was picture perfect, a beautiful home in the suburbs, two wonderful children, and a bond that, to the outside world, seemed unbreakable. But like all illusions, this one was destined to shatter. It started with small things. Claire began staying late at work more often, claiming that project deadlines were consuming her evenings. Ethan didn't question it. He trusted her. But then there were the hushed phone calls, the sudden bursts of laughter when she thought no one was listening, and the distant look in her eyes when she sat across from him at the dinner table. Her perfume, once familiar and comforting, now carried hints of something foreign, something not meant for him. She began dressing differently, more carefully chosen outfits, a new shade of lipstick Ethan had never seen before. One night, as Ethan was putting their kids to bed, he heard a soft chime from Claire's phone. She had left it on the kitchen counter, something she rarely did. A message flashed on the screen. "I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" A chill ran down Ethan's spine. His hands trembled as he picked up the phone, his heart pounding against his ribs. The message was from a number he didn't recognize, and as he scrolled through the conversation, the truth unfolded before his eyes. There were dozens of messages, secret rendezvous, whispered confessions of passion and longing. Claire had been living a double life, meeting someone behind his back, sharing moments of intimacy that should have been his alone. His stomach churned as he saw pictures. Claire smiling in dimly lit restaurants, her hand resting on someone else's arm, the unmistakable glow of affection in her eyes. Ethan felt the air leave his lungs. His mind raced, a whirlwind of emotions crashing over him: betrayal, anger, sadness, disbelief. He wanted to wake up from this nightmare, to shake off the feeling that his entire world had just collapsed. That night, he didn't confront Claire. He lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her steady breathing. How long had this been going on? How many times had she lied to his face? Was their love ever real, or had it been a carefully crafted illusion from the start? In the morning, Ethan made a decision. He would not scream, he would not beg, he would not allow himself to crumble. Instead, he began to plan. If Claire had been capable of deception, then so was he. But his betrayal would not be of the heart. It would be one of precision, calculation, and consequence. As Claire continued her charade, Ethan set his own plan into motion, quietly gathering evidence, tracking her movements, and preparing for the moment when the truth would come crashing down on her like a tidal wave. He began noticing things he had overlooked before: the way she always kept her phone face down, the way she hesitated before answering a question about her whereabouts. He hired a private investigator, collecting every detail he needed to ensure there would be no escape from her lies. The day of reckoning arrived. Claire walked into their home, oblivious to what awaited her. Ethan sat at the dining table, a folder in front of him, filled with undeniable proof. As she met his gaze, she knew. Her face drained of color, her lips parted in a silent plea. But Ethan had already made up his mind. Some betrayals can be forgiven. Others change a person forever. But Ethan was not yet done. He wanted Claire to understand the pain she had inflicted upon him, to feel the devastation that he had endured in silence. He began to dismantle the life they had built together, piece by piece. First, he secured his finances, ensuring that Claire would not be able to manipulate their assets. He spoke to a lawyer, preparing for the inevitable divorce proceedings. Then, he started playing his own game. He became distant, cold, yet eerily composed. He didn't argue or fight. He simply withdrew, forcing Claire to wonder what he knew. He spent more time at work, more time out of the house, making her question whether she was losing him before she even realized she had been caught. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between them became unbearable. Claire grew paranoid, her once confident demeanor now crumbling under the weight of uncertainty. She would reach for Ethan at night, only to find him already awake, staring at the ceiling, lost in thoughts she could not penetrate. Finally, Ethan decided it was time. He arranged a dinner, just the two of them. Claire arrived, hopeful, perhaps even guilty, thinking that he was ready to forgive. But as she sat across from him, Ethan slid the folder toward her. "Open it," he said calmly. Claire hesitated, but as she flipped through the pages, screenshots of messages, photos, receipts of secret meetings, her hands began to shake. A tear slipped down her cheek as she looked up at him. "Ethan, Don't," he interrupted. "I don't want your excuses. I don't want your apologies. I just want you to know that I know." She broke down, sobbing, begging for another chance. But Ethan had made his decision. He stood, leaving her alone with the evidence of her own betrayal. As he walked away, he felt a strange sense of relief. The pain was still there, but it no longer consumed him. He was free. And Claire? She would have to live with the consequences of her choices for the rest of her life.